Want to learn about data science salaries from a data scientist of 15 years who has worked with some of the largest companies and has been hiring data scientists for 12 years? If so, stay tuned. Hi, my name is Tim Doria with Check Your Assumptions, the Data Science Lifestyle channel. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about data science salaries. So first, let me share a little bit about myself. So I've been a practicing data scientist for roughly 15 years, 12 of which have been in a management capacity of some sort, where I'm actively hiring and managing data science teams. Okay, let's get into it. So what is the US average base salary for a data scientist today as of April 2020? It is $95,543 according to Glassdoor. And this is assuming 0 to 1 year's experience. So this is an entry level or junior data scientist that is just fresh out of school, usually bachelor's degree, sometimes master's degree. And I'd say that this is pretty accurate. Potentially a little bit on the low side for Boston area, but I think it's a pretty representative number. Now I want you to notice the large distribution here. So you'll see like on the low end, about $69,000 base salary per year, and it goes up to $132,000. And I know that that high end could go much higher than that, particularly in quant finance and if you have a higher degree. But overall, I'd say that this number is roughly representative. Now it's important to note that the 95.5K annual base salary is just that, a base. It does not include additional cash compensation and benefits such as stock options, restricted stock units, annual bonuses, healthcare costs, things like that. Now, Glassdoor tries to put together an estimate for additional cash compensation, which is mostly bonus, but a lot of folks also add in stock options and RSUs. And their average here is about $10,000 per year with a range between $3,600 to $23,000. But I'd say overall this is pretty representative. These cash compensation values at the lower left-hand corner here do not include additional non-cash benefits, like I mentioned, healthcare, things of that nature. As a quick reference, I just wanted to show you what a Google data scientist on average makes in the United States per year. So average base salary is about $141,000 per year with an additional cash bonus of $22,000 per year and a stock bonus in addition of $60,000 per year. Now note, with the stock bonus, there's usually a vesting schedule for most companies, which means you don't have immediate access to these funds. That being said, if you were to stay around for usually about 4 years, then you will have access to those funds. Note, however, that the stock price could go up or down, so it's hard to estimate what the true value is, but usually it's a decent percentage of compensation. Now, I want to contrast the compensation of a data scientist with another profession that a lot of folks confuse with data science, a data analyst. So just to contrast the two, let's see how much a data analyst makes for a starting, or rather an average salary. So you see a data analyst makes roughly $63,000 per year. Now, why is there such a difference, particularly since a lot of folks confuse these two professions, data science and data analyst? What I typically look for in a data scientist is everything that a data analyst has, plus inferential statistics, probability, machine learning, the ability to code, usually in multiple languages such as Python, R, Java, deep knowledge of the scientific method, experimental design, and that's not something I would expect from the data analysts that sit on my team. You are now in the profession, you've been in for about 1 to 2 years. What does the career ladder look like? And similarly, what does the salary ranges look like as you're moving up the career ladder? In order to answer that question, first let me tell you a little bit about the data science career ladder, having been in this industry for 12 to 15 years, 12 of which have been in management. The career ladder for data science, given it's a fairly new industry, varies a lot from one company to another. In fact, it varies a lot within individual companies going between teams. As this profession matures and is around longer, I think there'll be more standardization across companies, but at least now in early 2020, you could expect to see different career ladders for data scientists across different companies. That being said, what I found works best is to borrow from the engineering side of the house, meaning the levels are typically junior entry level data scientist, Then you have a staff data scientist. That's after you've been in for a few years. Then you have a senior data scientist. So that means you're roughly around 4 to 6 years in, and you're showing very high proficiency and ability to execute. Then at that level, if you continue on the individual contributor path, meaning that you're non-management, then usually you go to principal data scientist and then senior principal data scientist. Let me show you a little bit about what the salary ranges are at each of those steps in the career ladder for data scientists, assuming we're borrowing from the engineering side. If you're a couple of years in, 1 to 2 years in, so you're no longer entry level, but now you're a staff data scientist, you could expect to be in the 6-figure range on average. Again, the range is pretty wide. If you're working for a startup, you're going to expect to see something lower. If you're working in quant finance in a company that has thousands of employees, you could expect to be in the higher range. In terms of, does this represent the typical in the United States? Yes, it does align with my experience having been in this industry for quite some time. So now let's say you're about 5 years in, you're a senior data scientist, you really are showing tremendous progress and results, the ability to be a team leader. What on average could you expect to see? Roughly 134,000 is the average range, between roughly 6-figure $100,000 up to 180,000. Okay, so let's say that now you're further on in your career, now you're moving into principal data scientist. What salary could you expect to see? About 148,000 with a very wide range, obviously. So 110,000 low range, 200,000 on the high range, with a lot more potential on the high end. So now senior principal, the highest level, what could you expect to see on average in the US? About $174,000 on average, with a range between 129 to 234,000 based on what Glassdoor responds back. Again, this is just base salary. Let me just take a quick moment. I'll do a separate video on this. I keep saying that the high end is very high potential. It's much more than 234,000. And so what decides who would qualify for those salaries, those base salaries on a much higher end? So there's a number of factors. So obviously the industry, the field within data scientists that you're in matters a lot. So if you're in Wall Street finance, the numbers are going to be higher. The geography is going to matter a lot, because if you're in a highly competitive market where there's a lot of big companies that are trying to find data scientists, that's going to push the salary. San Francisco, Boston, New York are the main ones in the US. The folks, the data scientists who bridge the gap between technology and the business side, are the ones that really push the envelope in terms of the upper bounds of salary. So what do I mean by that? These are the folks that have mastery of statistics, probability theory, machine learning. They could bring all this technical knowledge to bear, but then they could go into a boardroom and meet with executives and speak to executives in such a way that they earn the executives' trust and guide the executives to making very important decisions that have very large ramifications. It's the ability to earn that trust and get the comfort of the leadership, the executive level, while having that really strong mastery of the technology and the technical side. Those are the folks that really push the envelope. Now, if you have someone like that and they're in quant finance in one of the major cities, the potential is really high. And I want to give you just a reference point for what the high potential is. For PhD quants in finance, so these are folks that are working in finance, newly minted graduates can get first-year compensations. Now, this includes bonuses and other types of compensation, starting $400,000 per year. If you found this video useful, be sure to click on the like button. Until next time, I'm Tim Doria with Check Your Assumptions. Thank you for watching another episode of Check Your Assumptions, the Data Science Lifestyle channel. I'm Tim Doria. Please subscribe to the channel and be sure to watch our other videos.